guys, it's Marijka, Milton Public Library, back with you today, and I am bringing new books for March. So these are some pretty amazing books, so let's get to them. Okay, so I'm going to start off saying when I put this list together and started working on it, it wasn't until I got to the end that I realized it was very graphic novel heavy, which I think is amazing. But just so you know, I'm pretty sure that I have 5 books for you today. 3 of them are graphic novels, but they are amazing graphic novels, so I hope you enjoy them. The first book that I have for you today is called The Legend of Brightblade, and this book is by Ethan M. Aldridge. So Alto comes from a line of heroes, especially his mother, Lady Brightblade. The bard that fought by her side is also training Alto. And that is what he wants to be. He wants to be a bard. His mother does not approve of this, and that forces Alto to run away. So his journey finds him in strange new company, and he might even end up being a hero of sorts too. This book is like, seriously, the graphics in it are amazing. It's so bright and like, I don't know, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and the story looks amazing. So again, that is The Legend of Brightblade by Ethan M. Aldridge. Okay, so the second book that I have for you today is called Troublemaker by John Cho. So this book is like a historical fiction, which sort of is odd to say the word fiction in it when this book takes place like when I was the same age as this character in the same time, and that to me does not feel like it could have the word historical in it, but the setting of the time is what is historical. So it is the start of 1992 in Los Angeles. For those of you who don't know, 1992 in Los Angeles was a really hard time. There was an event that took place between police and this gentleman, Rodney King, and it was caught on video. It was one of the first video catches that was then released of this sort of brutality, and it started this really horrific riot throughout Los Angeles, and lots of people were very scared, and lots of just really horrific things were happening at this time. So this story gives us a perspective of the Korean American role in this. So he is a Korean American middle schooler, and this book delves into like systematic racism and justice and injustice and the challenges faced by immigrants and their families. So all while the main character is on this action-packed trek across the city to help his dad protect the family store. So his dad has a store, and stores in Los Angeles, especially those run, well, really anyone, but there was just a lot of tension, not just from like the police to the black people. It was there was an incident a few years before between the Korean and black people, and it's just all accumulating in this time where everyone was just like sick of it and didn't know what else to do anymore, and it turned violent. And this book tells the story about this kid who is very, very scared for his father, who is in the middle of this, unprotected. And I do want to say this book, if you can't tell, does delve into racism and violence, but also the kid does have a gun, which is relevant to the story. So just so that that's out there. But the book is called, again, Troublemaker by John Cho. The next book that I have for you is Science Comics, so another graphic novel, but this one is Birds of Prey, Terrifying Talons by Joe Flood. So this is, like all science comics, a very captivating nonfiction book that gives us a detailed overview of raptors. So I absolutely love birds. It's probably because now I'm old and that just seems to be what happens. You just start to like birds. But as much as I really, really like birds and they super interest me, birds are like probably the scariest thing to me. I do not want to be anywhere alone with a bunch of birds because no. No. This gives an overview of raptors through time, the history of their scientific study, biology, and how they fit into the ecosystem of the world, which is amazing because every little thing has a purpose and a plan throughout Mother Nature. So it uses, of course, this book uses terrific comic format and some glorious images of inspiring raptors and present interest facts and details about the bird. So it's just amazing. And literally, I feel like when a nonfiction is in graphic novels, you don't even feel like you're like learning, even though you are. It just makes it like watching a cartoon. Yeah, it's just, I love them. All right. So that was Science Comics, Birds of Prey, Terrifying Talon by Joe Flood. The next book that I have for you, I'm so excited about. As soon as I saw this book, it was just absolutely just amazing. The graphics in this book are just like the best. So it is a middle grade graphic novel that has artwork in it that normally you see in like adult graphic novels, which is not to say that it's like mature content, but just normally the art in adult graphic novels are just so much higher. I don't know if they feel like middle grade kids just don't want to see that or what, but this book is just absolutely just gorgeous. I mean, it is by a renowned picture book author and artist, so that probably helps that he is just absolutely abundant in talent. But the book is The Aquanaut, and it is by Dan Santat. So this is element of deep sea adventure, a broken family that needs to be healed, and a sea creatures both naturally fascinating and fantastically intelligent. That sounds amazing, but it gets better. So this book is a roller coaster. It's got bumps, twists, turns, and a couple of loop-de-loops, and it's full of drama, action, and heart. And then there's just lots of family, and it's just filled with so many like just super amazing visual details. It starts with a drowning. Like, honestly, all good stories, unfortunately, that's how they start. So, Dr. Michael Ravoy drowns, and then the book picks up 5 years later. So, 5 years later, readers see his beloved daughter, Sophie, struggling to get her life together, and his brother business partner Paul struggling to continue their work on endangered sea life, which sounds like an amazing job. So meanwhile, a mysterious deep sea diver arises from the ocean, and the deep sea diver is really just this like old school Aquanaut suit, and it's filled with a hermit crab, a purple octopus, a Kemp Ridley sea turtle, and a male blanket octopus. Some of those I didn't even know were animals. Are they real animals? I don't know. I should look into that. But why would they be fake animals? I'm going to say they're real animals. So they are heading to Aqua Land, which is really like a SeaWorld, it's a theme park similar to SeaWorld. So Sophia and the sea creatures cross paths, and together she gets this idea that these creatures can help her with her science fair presentation. So everything goes awry, and everyone must make a clean getaway and make it back to the sea, or make this really crazy surprise. I don't know. It sounds crazy, and it sounds crazy to like even be talking about it, but this book is just so amazing. And isn't that what makes some of the best books, is that they're just like wackadoodle? Yeah. So, okay. So that is The Aquanaut, and it is by Dan Santat. The last book that I have for you today is called New from Here, and this is by Kelly Yang, who is an amazing author. So, this is a book about a Chinese American family during the beginning of COVID. Now, if you remember, during the beginning of COVID, there was a lot of very anti-Asian rhetoric going around. So this book deals with that. So when the news first started coming out of Wuhan, Knox and his family were living in Hong Kong, and then his parents decided that it would be best if his mom and his siblings moved to California to wait out the situation. The book talks about how, and like all of us, we didn't really realize how big the virus would get. So Knox and his family have to deal with the rising levels of Asian hate as the COVID virus starts to spread in the state, all while being in this new place and not a full family. So it's just a really amazing story. Sometimes I have a problem with all of these new COVID stories because it just feels like it's still, so fresh, and we still are like living through it. But a lot of them, like this one, are really good to know because it gives you a different perspective of things other cultures and other generations and people were going through at the same time, because not everyone's story is your story, and it didn't happen the same way to everybody. So this is a really great take on that, and that is New from Here by Kelly Yang. So those are my new books for March, and that is super exciting because that means it's the end of March, and then comes April, and then April leads into almost summer, which is the highlight of my whole year. So here at the Milton Public Library, we do have a few things coming up for the spring. April 4th through 7th, it will be a drop in like ninja craft in the Spark. You can drop in anytime, make little pipe cleaner ninjas. And then May 2nd, Cole's Wild Theater will be here, and they will be putting on a musical play about compassion. So that should be fun. And then at the end of that week, on the weekend, May 7th and 8th, in the Spark, there will be a guided craft, a creature chia pet. So you will essentially be making, will be making like pinch pot creatures, and then you will be given a little kit of chia seeds and instructions to take them home, and when it's all dry, you can turn it into a chia pet, which could be amazing or a disaster, but either way it will be fun. So that's all that matters. So yeah, that's about all the programs we have going on. We always have something going on in the Spark. Sometimes we just throw some stuff together, so it's always a good idea to stop in anytime. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.